I'm here with our first production version of we call it PowerSafe 15 or the PowerSafeRV, and that was actually done. It's true, I have a stack of about 60 or 70 requests from RV guys for something like this. I was studiously ignoring them, but Wayne Reavers expressed a similar sentiment. If you recall, Wayne ordered our second PowerSafe 100, which is one way to get my attention, and he has a yacht, and the yacht has it's a pretty good sized yacht, and it has an engine with a 24-volt alternator on it, and he wanted a system for that. And of course I wanted him to add some solar panels, which he's still kind of up in the air about. But so we designed this PowerSafeRV, or marine version, really for him. Some guys, if it weren't for bad luck, they just wouldn't have any at all. So we shipped the PowerSafe 100 to his farm in New York, where he promptly unpacked the crate that we had gone to 2 days of effort to build to protect this PowerSafe 100. And he took the PowerSafe 100 out of it so he could play with it. And he turned our gorgeous crate into a house for goats, if you can believe it. But he had kind of a good process going. He bought a container and painted it dilly green, which is important to this story. And he packed our PowerSafe 100 into that container. He also put in it a kind of a largish military surplus generator system and a bunch of Panasonic HIT panels and the in-phase inverters we like. And he put this all together into a 31,000 pound package, and he shipped it to Fort Lauderdale. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the shipping was on that, but just the insurance on it was $2,600. And when he got to Fort Lauderdale, he found that to ship it to the Bahamas, nobody would underwrite that at any price. And so he had to ship it with no insurance, which he managed to do. And he landed it at Port Marsh, Abaco, the day before Hurricane Dorian hit. And he was pretty sure it was destroyed and that he'd lost his yacht. But some guys riding around in a helicopter had some video, and it showed in all these blue and red containers strewn about the thing like matchbox cars in the mud, a dilly green container sitting perfectly upright and apparently undamaged. So he got pretty breathy over that, and later got another photo, here I'll show you, of the entire side ripped open like a sardine can. Several people told him he wouldn't even be able to get it out of the mud, but he is getting it out of the mud, and he's going to ship it to his island, Little Hog Cay, a few miles, 35 miles or so north of
can make it your own money to take care of your own stuff. You got stuff too nice going fishing in the flats boat. Whatever.
Nikon lifted though. Chain broke.
Come on, Dre. Come on, Drew. Pull up a little bit. Come on up.
Yeah. You don't think we should do it further so it tilts?
Yeah, but that's what I was trying to.
So I think we should put it as far back as possible. Yeah.
Lift it up. Let's put it under some more. Let's roll it under some more.
If we put the chain underneath the tire, this chain here,
Well, we never did it like that.
because it will stop the mud skinning. Right? We use it on our fire trucks.
Yeah.
We basically have chains whenever we're stuck.
I mean, we could try it, but we never used it like that. I've seen it only on the movie.
There we go. Working. Once it's over that, then it will slide easy.
You probably break the train.
Oh, look at all the water in the roof.
Why can't they carry it like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Why can't they carry it like that?
He's caught on the tree.
My truck in the way.
Yeah, your truck's in the way.
And here you can see the power problems on Abaco Island. Here's a downed power pole laying over a SUV. Kind of a third world power pole, but a power pole nonetheless. And it's down hard, and they were down hard all over Abaco Island.
What?
This is them dragging a 31,000 pound container over power lines, so forth, trying to get the thing out.
Yeah.
Watch out. Wait. Watch out. Put everything back the way you found it. Oh, thank you.
Cool.
Yes, it is true. I am torturing you with this long, tedious video to digging this out, but I was mesmerized by this. It kind of shows what a shit show Abaco Island is, and the kind of effort it takes to get one container
Thank you,
out
sir.
and ready to ship off the island. And
Thank you, sir.
this is the level of effort required to do the cleanup that involves thousands, certainly hundreds of these containers, but also everything else on Abaco Island. 51 hours, over 200-mile-an-hour winds. It's just a disaster.
Where are we going to put it? I think right there. Like,
Is that what he told you?
yeah, he said just put it over here.
Okay.
So if we can put it here, we can put it here, it'll be perfect. Yeah, I mean, if we can get it in there, that's perfect. Wait, we need to put it over here, eh?
Huh?
It needs to go over there.
Over there?
Yeah, just next to the white truck.
Yeah, I think you can push it in.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna have to. Yeah. Leave him on the top. Yeah, Ben.
So it's next to the white van.
Or we can just move these skids and we push it.
As it turns out, his boat survived as well. It will still do the boat thing. The boat motor runs, and the desalinator works, so you can make water. But it's pretty much been trashed. But it's still functional. So a lot of damage, but he took the boat to Little Hog Cay and a little generator, and he sent us some photos, which I'm going to put up here. Kind of without comment, except that he's got a toilet now with a 360-degree view you just won't believe. It's gorgeous. I want to go use that toilet pretty bad. As you can see from the photos, his little runabout's half buried in sand. He has 2 buildings there and a palisade kind of pool table outdoor thing. They all survived, meaning that they're standing, but man, were they tore up. And so he's got a lot of work ahead of him. So we kind of designed this device for Wayne Reavers. But he thought he lost his boat completely. And we, of course, went ahead with the project, and I told you all you could order them for $10,000. We're going to price them at $12,995. And we ordered a special 6 kilowatt inverter from Signier as our frequency shift, as our voltages for the Model S battery, in this case a 24 volt battery, and it's a 24 volt DC to 240 volt AC inverter. Pretty nice one. We actually had them make these, which are kind of different from their regular ones, with 100% copper transformers. Things get a little more critical as you go down in size. As you go up in size, you get room to do a lot of stuff. But this 6 kilowatt from 24 volts DC, we get a little better total harmonic distortion with an all copper transformer instead of a less expensive aluminum and copper. It's not a big increase in expense, but it's significant. But we think it's worthwhile for this. And we ordered 15 of them. They're going to be here October 18th, but we had 2 of the 15 FedExed here, and 1 was damaged in shipping. We normally don't do or allow FedEx to do any shipping for EVTV. Our record with them is abysmal. And I had specified DHL. And so Franklin and Signier coughed up another inverter and had it here in just 4 or 5 days. So we have 2 of the production inverters, 13 coming on October 18th. And I had said if you order now, when you're not going to get it until we get the inverters in, we do it for $10,000. We're going to price them at $12,995. We ran into a couple of issues that made it a little bit more expensive, and that's without the display. But our mission is to make a very inexpensive inverter and battery for recreational vehicles and boats, and it's 15 kilowatt hours is what the capacity is, and 6 kilowatts is kind of the full capacity of this little inverter. But that's a pretty good amount. You can run a house on that, actually. Certainly a small house, and in an RV or a boat, it's kind of generous, actually. One of the key aspects of it was the addition of another expensive contactor, and that is for this DC output we have here with the cam lock style connectors. And what that will do is allow us to control that contactor with our cutoff voltage and our resume voltage for charging. And that's kind of important because you can run his boat engine and it will put 24 volt DC in while the inverter's running and also charge the battery. But when he shuts off the engine, he's got 15 kilowatt hours of stuff. So Wayne called today, and he wasn't going to take one because he didn't think he had a boat. Well, now he's kind of got a boat and he needs one pretty bad, but he needs it pretty quick. And so this is one of the 2 production units that we had, the overnighted inverters, and we're going to ship that out to him pretty quick. We've actually sold 6, and we only ordered 15 inverters, so I don't know how this is going to go. But it's been fairly well received. And I feel a little foolish given the price break for half of the inverters we're going to have, as it turns out. But I think having a few of these out here, I think this is actually, we've kind of hit the mark. We can do the frequency shift. You can charge from the grid tied, AC modules or panels, or the panels with the in-phase things. You can charge using the regular DC panels and an MPPT charge controller right in the same 24-volt input. You can charge from shore power just by plugging it in. It'll switch over. We have it set in AC priority mode, but we never hook AC into it unless you plug in at the pier or the RV park. And then it automatically switches over 15 seconds later, passes that power through, so your boat is powered, and charges the batteries. So you can charge from shore power from either style solar panel or from a 24-volt alternator. And you have 15 kilowatt hours of storage, 6 kilowatt output power. So Wayne called. We're going to, not going to precisely overnight this, but we're going to ship it. It's still 300 pounds, but we're going to ship it PDQ to him. And of course, as I said, we really weren't, we've got 5 other orders, but they've been on notice from the beginning that it doesn't actually ship till we get the main shipment of inverters. But I got 2 of them ahead of time, so we ship Wayne one, and we still have a test mule to play with, and we continue to do that. But I got to tell you, the testing hasn't amounted to much. It's just worked. We took our regular software, made a couple of changes to it, and used the heat enable output for the frequency shift, so we could use the charge enable output to run that third contactor, so you can charge it DC, either solar or alternator. And it'll just shut off that contactor when you reach your cutoff voltage, and the power and everything still is running. It continues to run just fine. And when it gets down to the resume level, it'll turn it back on. And so you can hook up an alternator to it, and your lead acid battery system or whatever you use to power start the engine and so forth. And you don't have to do anything. You just wire it to it. And so I think we've got kind of a package that we've kind of thought through the various scenarios pretty well for people that don't have an RV or a boat at all. But I have gone through all the requests that I've gotten from RV people, talked to Wayne on his needs, and I think I've got this box kind of put together to handle all of that almost any way they want to use it without them having to do very much. And so this will go to Wayne. Man, I feel for the guy. Some days just doesn't pay to get out of bed, but to land his container the day before that hurricane and hurricane's going through hell for leather, Cat 5, and it hits the Bahamas. And I guess somebody in Florida was, Marianne Williamson or somebody, was praying that hurricane away. So it just stopped right over the Bahamas and sat on it for 51 hours. Torrential rains and incredible surge, a Cat 5 hurricane. And it just shredded Abaco and all the islands there in the northern part of the Bahamas. And Wayne had just landed a project that I know he'd been working on 6 months. He's going to take it to the island, take it apart, and he says he wants me to support him in troubleshooting a PowerSafe100 that's been under salt water for weeks. We'll do what we can over the phone, Wayne, and by email, but you know, it's a NEMA enclosure, but it's not IP67. In fact, we riddled it with holes and batteries and electronics and so forth. Don't do well in salt water. They don't do well in water, but they really don't do well in salt water. It just corrodes electronics to death. And so I'm not sure what you're going to have to work with there. He has mentioned that he actually intends to order another PowerSafe100 if he can't get it going. Whew. Man, you gotta want electricity pretty bad. But you know, that's growing all the time. I feel almost guilty. About 3 years ago, I started talking to you about utility companies and grids and things not being quite as kumbaya as you might hope. This week, well, I just told you about San Diego Gas and Electric going to this time of use system that is 9 cents a kilowatt hour from midnight to 6 a.m. 29 cents a kilowatt hour the rest of the time, except for 4 to 9 p.m. And it's 54 cents a kilowatt hour. It's like 5 times what we pay for electricity here. But it gets even better. And I hate to laugh at you guys, but you are in California. I mean, it's not like back here in the States. This is probably the silliest state in the silliest country in the world. And I just don't know what to tell you. But Pacific Gas and Electric this week is shutting off power to up to 800,000 customers. That's not people, that's meters. For up to 2 weeks. Because the winds are such that it might cause a fire. So I know I sounded a little kooky 3 years ago when I started beating up utility companies and not being the kumbaya buddy you think they are with all your net metering agreements. Well, guess what? It's coming to pass in some actually almost comical ways. They're shutting down power because it might cause a wildfire in a state that has wildfires every year. But also this week, with some of the early hearings in the $1.5 billion lawsuit against Pacific Gas and Electric for somehow causing the wildfire that they had last year. And they're going to make them pay all this and kind of put the debtors and the injured customers ahead of the shareholders in the whole legal process in this hearing. So PG&E is kind of punishing their customer base for the lawsuit or something. it's getting to be just a shit show between the utility companies and the people, particularly the people with solar installations. Um, so, man, things are moving along, and I'm getting a lot of calls from Northern California. Does your system really work? Well, what do you mean by work? It's kind of like, four monkeys trying to fuck a football on a wax tile floor around here running all this. But it works. I mean, we do the frequency shift and we charge up the batteries, and we go 3 or 4 days sometimes without having to do anything. But we're turning on solar panels and off solar panels, and we've got too much sun, not enough sun, and it's just. But yeah, it works pretty good. It's not a theory. AC coupling works. The thing with the grid tied inverters works great. We're actually pretty pleased with where we're at with this stuff now. And we're actually reading data from the in-phase Envoy gateway and putting it on the display right here. Have 40 of them. We're doing 303 watts. It's raining outside, actually. We've done 6.92 kilowatt hours today. And so that's just from the in-phase side, not the solar edge side. So things are working actually pretty well. But we're still in the early days of this process. The vision I have has 2 components that I think are important. One is a box you can just plug into your circuit breaker panel through a 100 amp circuit breaker. Flip off your grid, turn on the box, and you're in operation. So a simple add-on for the many, what they call AC coupled systems, which meant no battery. It was AC coupled to the grid. And we kind of stole the term to mean we charge our batteries by AC coupling from those grid-tied inverters. This is very quickly being taken up by everybody else in the industry in almost a comical fashion. It was a joke, actually, a pun, but they're adopting it. And so that's the big design consideration is I want a box. You can, after your solar install is all good, without anybody's real permission, perhaps illegally, but within the scope of what a handy person can do, connect 3 wires to a 100 amp circuit breaker added to their panel, and you're done. That's the objective. The second objective, I think, is obvious. It hasn't been, but it's going to be, and that is that you use surplus electric vehicle batteries to do this. And we're going to win on that too. UL Underwriters Laboratories has just released UL 1974. And UL 1974 has the inspection and acceptance criteria for using used batteries from electric vehicles for solar energy storage purposes. It's kind of an economic matter. I hate to mention this while I'm selling shit for $12,000 and $75,000. I know that doesn't sound economical, but if I use new batteries, it's twice that. So we can do half the price for the battery now using EVs from salvage yards and salvage batteries. I expect that to increase in the future. This third quarter, Tesla shipped 79,000 Model 3s and 17,000 Model S and X's. So we're working kind of furiously and without a whole lot of encouragement, I gotta tell you, or success, on decoding the BMS board on the Model 3 battery. Now I've got 8 or 10 guys wanting to know when we're going to release this. Well, number one, I don't have it done yet. And Colin's kind of the one doing it. I just bought him a bunch of test equipment. It's actually non-trivial. There's no CAN, there's no serial port, there's not even any ISO SPI. It's none of that. This is witchcraft. And if we do get it done, I'm not competing with myself for the batteries either. So we're not going to do a controller you can use with a Model 3 battery. We're going to sell Model 3 batteries with our controller. It's got to be insane. We're paying twice what we should be for Model S batteries while people are buying them and putting helicopter battery management systems on them with spaghetti wire and posing as experts in the field. It's just a shit show beyond horror. And the problem is the accidents then ensuing inspire regulation and making it where you can't do that. So I like, it's not that I disapprove of it for economic reasons. I strongly disapprove of it because it's working against the mission. We don't want a lot of attention at this point, and we certainly don't want regulations as we have in some cases for shipment of batteries now. That's become very difficult worldwide. And some of these young Turks with their bottom feeder solution are gonna cause that regulation, and they're actually damaging the whole mission of solar and battery storage in doing that. So, you know, we kind of need to avoid the spaghetti wiring, monitor the cell voltages and temperatures and safety of the batteries as best we can. I haven't made any batteries safe, by the way. I've made them safer, but they're still not safe. Don't misquote me on this. They're a lot of energy in not very much space, and they're not safe. But they are handy. And I believe that the function is to use remainder battery modules from electric vehicles for solar energy storage. Our mission is point of generation use and storage of energy using photovoltaics and lithium batteries. And the two elements I've decided are primary design criteria is a simple add-on for the mini grid-tied solar systems that are out there, and to use exclusively remaindered electric vehicle batteries. And so that's what we're doing, and believe it or not, I'm fully confident by the time we're done, this is how everybody's going to do it. And it's the correct conceptual model, in my unqualified but nonetheless strongly held opinion. In any event, along the way, we have victims like Wayne Reavers who are trying to advance the token and demonstrate electrical independence. And we're trying to help him. And so he'll get the first PowerSafeRV and deserves it because he actually was the one that finally swung me over to address that, what I consider kind of a kooky niche of RV guys who want a great deal and don't want to pay for any of it. And but Wayne is already bought a PowerSafe100. I get his need. I understood his need in a boat somehow better than in an RV, and it's really the same need. And so we put a little thought into it, and I think this will pretty much fill the bill. Might cause some further software changes or tune-ups to the process, but I think if you accept basic limitations of 15 kilowatt hours and 6 kilowatts of power, I think we've hit it pretty good. So stay with us. We'll get this shipped out early next week. Dwayne Reavers hopefully get his boat up where it's got plenty of power, and his desalinator runs and his engine can power things, and then he'll start pulling stuff out of that container, and we'll try to work out some strategies for recovering parts from it, or who knows, we might. And you don't know, it might pull it out of and just flip it on. I'd have felt better if he'd have left it in that crate we made, wrapped up in plastic, but at least the goats have a good home to go to in the winter. Stay with us. Time for Mama to have new shoes. The Tesla Model S has done pretty well. Their 21-inch turbine wheel looks pretty bling, but it's not the best for efficiency. And I ran into some guys about 6 months ago from Solder Shopping, Sweden. Solder Shopping, Sweden. They call themselves the New Arrow, and there's some pretty serious designers, and they've been working on a replacement wheel for the Tesla Model S. They kind of talked me into buying a set. They'd like us to talk about it, and I'm thinking of carrying them in the store. They have a couple of interesting aspects. This is their 21-inch Razor in matte black, and I kind of like it. I like the photos, and I like the actual wheel even better. It's a forged wheel, aluminum. It has a couple of interesting characteristics. Most notably, these vanes. And they claim about a 9.9% reduction in drag over the 21-inch turbines on the Model S, which puts it about where it would be with their efficient wheels on the S. You kind of pay a price in efficiency for those turbine 21-inch wheels. This is a 21-inch wheel. It's a 245 by 35, or 245 by 35, 245 millimeters wide, a 35 millimeter profile, and it's a 21-inch wheel. Another interesting thing is they have made it where you can replace this with the Tesla logo cap. Therein lies kind of a tale, more so on the Model 3, which they're working on now. This is a forged wheel. The Model 3 is going to be cast, but the Model 3 caps have kind of a trick fitting to fit them in the wheels that don't work on most custom wheels. and both the 21-inch Razor and the 20-inch Model 3 are going to take the Tesla cap as is. Let me spin it around and show you the inside. It fits. It's a dead fit for the Tesla, and here's the hub plate. But it's a pretty high quality wheel. They describe the turbine wheel on the Tesla as a little bit nervous. These are very finely balanced. They say they put together a set and had less than 10 grams of weight to balance them with the tires. They're proud of them, and they're kind of just starting out. It's a highly engineered wheel. I don't remember where they said they had them made, but I think Italy. And it's a forged wheel. I think it's very attractive, but of course the trick is the efficiency. Now these vanes are kind of important in that and they restrict you a little bit in that they have a left and right-handedness to them. And so we've taken the part numbers, and for our guys over at Campus Auto, stamped them right, and left, so they don't get them confused. And so this will go on the Model S Monday, and we'll see how they look on that, and do a little bit of testing on our watt hours per mile. This is a set of Pirellis. They recommend this Pirelli P0, I guess it is. Let me see here. That we're going to put on them. Yeah, the PZ4 Pirelli P0 Sport XL. That's a 245, 35, 21. Again, 245 millimeters wide, a 35 millimeter profile, so obviously a pretty low profile tire, and 21-inch wheel. Those cost me $1,077 for 4 of them. The Razor wheels are 4,795 euros, about 52, almost $5,300 US today, plus 500 shipping. So these are going to be about $6,000 a set, and $7,000, a little bit over $7,000 by the time you get the shoes on. So this is a non-trivial expense on the car, but I think it'll dress it up quite a bit, improve my efficiency or lower my drag by 9.9%. About 30% less air moved by the wheel than the turbines, and that's the big part of the drag reduction. And so I think they've done a very interesting thing with a very high quality wheel, and we're going to test those and look at them, and perhaps import them from Sweden. They don't really have a U.S. presence here now. I'm carrying them in the store, but all that's a little bit in the future. Right now we're just looking at them and testing them, and so far I really like what I see with the wheel. We'll get the Pirellis on them, get them on the car with some new TPMS's, tire pressure monitoring system, some nice stems, probably get some truck stems that come out about 18 inches, some skull screw caps on them or something like that. No, we're not going to do any of that, but anyway, new shoes for Mama's Model S, and we'll see how that goes. Stay with us. It's going to be interesting.